Good day everyone, Max here from Not Another Fitness channel. Today's video I'm going to share and discuss 3 mistakes that I made early on in my training journey and why I don't train in a certain way anymore. Don't be scared, none of this is science-based, but this is real life based. So you can probably take it as a good advice. Before we get to that, I will give you my usual weekly update. As you can see, this week I've lost a whole kilo, which is a little bit more than I had anticipated, which means in the next week or two I will adjust my diet slightly. Now, normally when I adjust my diet, I try not to touch the protein and carbohydrate intake, but I prefer to play around with fats as it is the most calorie dense macronutrient. These are the before and after pictures. The comparison is obviously with last week. I don't really see that big of difference, especially in the side and back shots. Perhaps I look a little bit better from the front. It is of a little consolation worth noting that at least with this weight loss, I haven't lost any strength. As a matter of fact, I even improved in a few exercises. One of my biggest fears was that my strength was going to go down significantly. Okay, so let's talk about these mistakes that I used to make. Spoiler alert, they are all related to the broader concept of overtraining. I will discuss more in details what I believe I was doing wrong, and what I believe, as a matter of fact, a lot of gym goers are still doing wrong these days. The first mistake was the training frequency. When I started, I was definitely training too often, which means I didn't allow for the specific muscle groups that I was training enough time to recover. Also, the central nervous system was definitely getting overstressed. This is, in my opinion, something that happens to a lot of people that start going to the gym, as we all get carried away by the enthusiasm and we want to be there 7 days a week. What I do now is, although I have a somewhat fixed schedule, I try to listen to my body a little bit more. For example, if I train chest on Monday and I am supposed to train it again on Friday, let's say, if by Friday I'm still sore, let's say I'm doing a movement like this, and I'm still extremely sore in my chest, I'm not going to train. I'm going to wait until that soreness is completely gone, and then I'm going to hit it again. What really I should have done, especially at the very beginning of my fitness journey, was adopting a very infrequent style of training and perhaps do full body workouts rather than throw myself straight into a push pull legs, which is something I don't even do anymore, but I was at the time, and really ripe the benefits of the newbie gains and make them last way longer, as the newbie gains is something that we all miss once they're gone. The second mistake is training volume, which means doing way too many exercises and way too many sets. As a matter of fact, I believe if you see now a workout schedule that has more than 12 sets in it, put it straight in the bin. Just can it. There is a reason why we're doing way too many sets. It's called junk volume. It belongs in the bin. This is something I didn't know years ago. As a matter of fact, I remember doing 5 or 6 even exercises per training schedule per day, and even 5 sets per exercise. So if you're doing your math, yes, that means 25 or even 30 sets per day, which is mental, something I will never do these days. Doing something like that is at best, so your best case scenario, a waste of time. You're wasting your time. That's the best case scenario. Worst case scenario is you're going to be way more prone to injury. And to think that someone said you needed 52 sets per week to be optimal. I can't remember their name now. Jeff Nippard, Mike Israetel, but that's what the experts have said in the past. What I do now, depending on the day and therefore the muscle group that I'm training, is 3 or 4 exercises, never more than 4, and 2, 3, or 4 sets per exercise. So worst case scenario, so the most amount of sets will be 12, whilst the smallest amount of sets will be 7. The third mistake is something that I'm going to call inefficient warm-up. What do I mean by inefficient warm-up? Well, when I started going to the gym, what I used to do, crazy to think about now, was spending 20 to 30 minutes on the treadmill, going really, really hard. And then I was going to do my 25 to 30 sets workout. So you can imagine halfway through it, I will feel completely drained of my whole life force and will to live. When I realized that that was a waste of time and I was getting way too tired, I started doing something different. So I started warming up by doing exercises specific to the training I was going to do that day. I was still making a huge mistake. And that mistake was doing way too many reps in preparation of my second, third, or fourth set. For example, what I used to do, let's take bench press. If my working weight is 100 kilos, I used to do, let's say, 20 reps for 60 kilos. Now, of course, 60 kilos pretty light, but doing 20 reps will tire me out. So by the time I do a second set, let's say with 80 kilos, doing 12 or 15 reps, and then I finally get to the 100, I could barely lift it 3 times before I had to, lower the weight. What I do now is, again, with the example of the bench press, start with 60 kilos, which is 1 plate for each side, and I'll do 10 reps, not 20. 10 very slowly, controlled, moving the weight. Then I'll move on to 80 kilos and I'll do perhaps 8 reps. And after I'm done with that, I'm ready. I'm ready for the heavy set. Also, I'm not going to do a warm up per each exercise. If, for example, I've done a flat bench press and I'm going to then move on to an incline bench press, I'm already warm up really. It's not a completely different movement pattern. I'm going to do a warm up if the movement pattern is completely different. So these are the mistakes I used to make that can lead to overtraining, which is a trap that is very easy to fall into. This is it for this week. Don't forget to like and subscribe and also leave a comment for the algorithm, and I'll see you next week. Thank you for watching.